record this one. It's just going to record my video as always. And again, this week we're working with this idea of experiencing the 360-degree dimensions of our body. So we'll be doing some full turnarounds on the mat, and just take some time to yourself, do what you need to do, change what you need to change, and let's get moving a bit. I hope you can hear the birds outside my window. So you'll have two options. On Tuesday, we started with a little bit of a calf massage, so you can put your foot in a position that relaxes the calf. So maybe propping it up, bending that knee, and just massaging the calf. Your other option today is a bit of a chest opener. So if you have a block or a book, you can lay that horizontally on the floor and then lay your shoulder blades onto the block. You'll interlace those hands behind the head and just lay the head back into the hands. And you can open the elbows to whatever degree feels good, and you'll just start to feel some gentle opening in that chest. It might not feel so gentle, it could feel a bit more aggressive. Exhale, whatever you're doing, if you're massaging that calf, you can feel free to switch to the other side. But really, customize, it's like customizing a car, customize your class here. Decide what you need in this moment. Both groups are kind of cueing into the back space of the body, so the back of the calf and also the upper back region that often gets neglected. And if you're massaging the calf, you can quiet that down. We'll head to a quadruped. If you're on a book or a block, you can roll carefully to one side, move that block away, and we will also make our way to all fours. Take your time to get there. And once again, today we'll sit the hips back, or find any seat that's comfortable. We're just going to stretch the wrists briefly. So you can, almost like you were pushing the wall in front of you with the fingers pointing down, draw your elbow towards the waist, and then pull back on the hand. I'm going to quickly lock our Zulu. Something I like to do here, if you need a little bit more anchoring, you can put the left thumb on the back of the right hand and use that as a bit of a fulcrum. It depends on your natural range of motion in the wrist. So if that feels too extreme, no big deal. And then let's switch hands. So pressing that left palm forward, fingers towards the floor, and then maybe drawing the elbow towards you. You also could play with extending the arm all the way forward here. Once again, customizing the journey. Oh, Emma, I feel the heat radiating around me. Trying to channel your love of it. And then we'll release the hands, shake them out for a moment. Now we'll come to all fours. So planting those hands on the floor, find the knees under the hips. Lengthen through the spine, almost imagining that there was a string being pulled from the back of your head forward, and that same string went all the way down the spine and is reaching out of your tailbone. So starting to connect this back body. And we'll first warm up the hips a little bit. Just finding external and internal rotation. You'll keep the right knee bent, extend the right hip, weighting into the left shin, and then windshield wiper here. Really checking in with that neutral pelvis. Start to get the image of the thigh bone moving in the hip socket. I love the image of a mortar and a pestle. So like that femur is the pestle moving within the big bowl of the mortar. And then quiet that external internal rotation, lower the shin. We'll keep the left knee bent, and same thing, extend the leg back, being mindful of your neutral pelvis, and then external internal rotation here. Remember, if it feels like you have to crank the left half of the pelvis up to get the leg up, just let the leg be a little bit lower. It's not really about finding extreme range here. It's more about finding a precision of our movement. Ooh, you're gonna need hip cracks, hats off. And then we'll lower the left knee. Let's take a couple cat-cows, inhaling for cow, pulling the chest forward, exhale, round the back for your cat, head go, spilling the top of the head towards the floor, and then inhale for your cow. Pull the chest forward. Exhale for cat. One more each way. With your breath, inhale for your cow, and exhale for your cat. From here, we're heading to a low lunge or a half kneel position. Two options. You can tent up the fingertips, slide the left foot forward, or you could sit back a little bit onto the shins and then step that foot forward. Pick your route there. We'll inhale, reach the arms up, let those shoulder blades pull up the ribs, finding length through the back of the neck, and then at the same time, wrap the right glute down a little bit, almost like you could wrap it towards your knee. Exhale, hands to heart center, and immediately twist from the center to the left. Inhale, twist right. Exhale, twist left. And inhale right. We'll do a few more rounds of these, pairing your exhale and your inhale with one side each. Heading to my favorite, we'll pause and a twist to the left. Plant the right hand under the shoulder. You can reach the left arm up. Maintain that neutral pelvis. You could also try extending the right leg, tucking those right toes for a twisted crescent. And everybody envision you are leaning your weight into this right shoulder blade. So it's almost like a slight back extension from this neutral pelvis. Option here, if it doesn't feel good, don't take it. Step the left foot back, maybe a quarter of the way, and then turn both sets of toes over to the left. Coming into, it's kind of a side plank variation, and you'll start to open the outer left hip. Keep pressing into that right hand, anchoring into the scapula there. And then we'll all come to land on the right side. So everybody turn those toes to the left, bend that right knee and lower to the outer edge of the right leg, and then stack the left leg on top. You'll bring the right forearm parallel to the front of the mat onto the floor, thumb facing up, and we'll find our side bridges here. So we'll press into the outer portion of the right shin and lift the hips or the pelvis here and lower, and we'll pulse it up, getting our glute medius activated, waking up our side here on our 360-degree tour. And you're still anchoring into that scapula to keep the shoulder nice and stable. Just two more. Good, and then we'll lower the pelvis, turn to your back, and you're gonna recline all the way to the floor. So take your time getting there. You'll plant the feet on the floor for a low bridge. Pressing those feet into the floor, extend the tailbone, use your glutes to lift up. And then if you'd like at the top, you can add 3 pulses, maybe of just an inch, lowering and lifting. After 3, you'll sequentially lower through the spine. We're gonna move for some core activation. Interlace those hands behind the head, elbows point up, and bring the right and left knee over the hip. Big inhale here. Exhale, peel head and shoulder blades off the floor, and then internally rotate both hips so the feet will start to fly out here. Legs back to center, inhale, lower. And one more here. Exhale, head and shoulder blades lift, peeling off the mat. And then external rotation in the hips. The feet are gonna come towards each other, kind of like a frog pose here or a Baddha Konasana. Back to center, inhale, lower. And then pull the knees towards you. We'll roll onto our left side in this ball position. Arms reach in front of the chest, and we'll take our backstroke action here. Reaching the right fingers along the floor, overhead, opening for a twist to the right. That arm sweeps down by the pelvis and back to the left hand. So we'll just keep making these big circles. Of course, if you need to bend the right elbow at any point to kind of alleviate pull on the right shoulder, you go for it. One more big circle here. And when your hands meet up once again, we'll return to our back and we're going to repeat that series on the other side. So we'll plant the feet, Press through those feet for your bridge, lifting the pelvis up, add 3 pulses here. And then lower through the spine. Bring those knees over the hips. We'll interlace hands behind the head, elbows point up, inhale. Exhale, head and shoulder blades lift up, and we'll add internal rotation. Feet fly out. Feet back to center, inhale, lower. One more here, exhale, head and shoulder blades lift. And external rotation in the hips, your frog legs here. Back to center, inhale, lower. Draw the knees towards you to some degree and tip this shape over to the right. Arms reach out in front of the chest, and then left arm this time is your backstroke, bringing those fingers along the floor. Once again, bending the elbow to give your shoulder a little bit more room if you need. Lubricating our back here. And next time the left hand meets the right, we'll roll over our backs and then start to lift yourself up here. You can traction the knees, like anchor the hands into the knees to help you lift, or get there in any other way. And then we'll turn to the left, coming into a down dog facing the front of the mat. Planting the hands, lifting that pelvis so it's the apex of the pose. And you can rise up on the toes here. Big inhale. Exhale, we'll walk the hands back for a happy squat, grounding the heels, bending the knees, flexing in the hips here. As always, if you want to draw the hands up the legs to give a little bit more space for the hips, go for it. We'll walk the hands forward, returning to down dog. And then if you'd like, you can lift the left leg for 3-legged down dog, bend the knee, and open up the hip. Step the left foot down. We'll all walk the hands back on an exhale. Happy squat once again. Adjusting the hands as you go. And then walk it forward. Right leg can lift this time. Bend the knee, open up the hip. If you'd like, and then we'll lower that foot. Walk it back for your happy squat. Sitting into the hips. This time, let the head release, almost drawing the chin towards the throat. Exhale. And now walk the hands forward, returning to your down dog. This time we'll lift the left leg. Step that foot forward for crescent lunge legs, and then you'll walk the hands up the leg, rising to a vertical position here. Slight bend in that right knee, really turn the right glute on. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, goal post the arms, pulling those elbows wide. And then twist to the left. Inhale, twist right. Hold on to this right half of the pelvis as you do this. Twisting to the right in particular, you're going to want to open up. Just try to use the glute to resist that. Last time, we'll twist left. As you twist right, turn all the way to the side of the mat for side lunges, toes facing the same direction, and then hinging into that right knee and hip and left knee and hip. Could not do the last class of the semester without adding some side lunges in. You'll feel some opening in that inner thigh. And then, of course, if you want to take the hands down towards the floor, if that feels okay in the hips, if you can manage the neutral pelvis there, go for it. And then we'll turn to the front of the mat, plant into the hands, lower this right knee, and then sweep the left leg back for your quadruped. Returning to our starting point here. Let's take cat-cow first. So inhale for your cow, pull the chest forward. Exhale for cat. Inhale for your cow. Feel the strength of the core there, not letting the belly collapse. Just the ribs pull away. And then exhale for your cat. One more, inhaling and exhaling for your cat-cow. And then we're moving to a right half kneel. So you can lift up on the fingertips, or once again, rise over the shins and then step the right foot forward. Inhale, arms reach up, pull the shoulder blades up here. And exhale, hands to heart center in prayer, and add a twist to the right. Hold that left glute as you inhale, twist left. And same thing, exhale right and inhale left. Hopefully feeling a little bit more accessible with this rotation through the thoracic spine. And then next time you twist right, we'll pause there, take it into a twisted low lunge, plant that left hand under the shoulder. You can reach the right arm up. Keep deepening the right hip crease down towards the mat. That's going to help maintain your neutral pelvis there. And then everybody try to lean slightly back into that left shoulder blade, almost like the chest was opening up a little bit without totally abandoning the rib cage. If you'd like, you can tuck the back toes and extend the left knee for more of a twisted crescent here. And then the third option is to walk the right foot about a quarter of the way back, and then take both sets of toes over to the right, coming into this side plank variation. So you can maintain any of those other twists if they feel better, or you can test this out. If it's too much in the outer hip, you can always walk the right foot back even more, and that will release some of the stretch. Now we're going to lower to the left side for those side bridges here. So everyone will turn to bring those toes to the side of the mat, slightly bend the left knee and lower on the outer portion of the leg, stacking that right leg on top and lowering left forearm parallel to the top of the mat. Thumb is up. You can always hitchhike if you want. I like to do that. We'll press into the outer portion of the shin and then lift the pelvis. You can really do whatever you want with this right arm. You could reach it up. You could cap the left shoulder if you feel you need a little more anchoring for stability. You could have the hand on the pelvis. This side's way weaker for me, so I feel it in a much more intense way. Solidarity if you're in the same position, or maybe it feels a lot more free. Just one more. And we'll lower to the floor, turning towards the back of the mat. We'll recline to our backs, coming for our low bridge series with our core wake up and the backstroke. So we're going to repeat this. We'll use the glutes to lift up to your low bridge, adding 3 pulses if you'd like here, and lower through the spine. Interlace those hands behind the head for our core warm up. Knees come over the hips, inhale. Exhale, peel head and shoulder blades off the floor and internally rotate at the hips. Feet coming wide. Back to center, inhale, lower. Exhale, head and shoulder blades lift. External rotation, feet coming together for frog legs. Coming back to center, inhale, lower. Let those knees pull towards you slightly and then turn onto your right side this time. Left arm is going to backstroke. You can really milk this and take it super slow if you want, but everybody put your brain and your attention into the left shoulder blade and make sure it's really actively moving around the ribs as you move the arm. So that's a very healthy, they call it the rhythm of the shoulder, to have the scapula engaged in the movement as well. Bring that left hand back to meet the right. We'll roll onto our backs once again, plant those feet. Last time for this series, lifting into the bridge, maybe adding your 3 pulses. Lowering through the spine sequentially, and core work. Interlace those hands behind the head, knees come up if you'd like. Inhale, exhale, peel head and shoulder blades up. Internally rotate at the hips here, feet flying out. Back to center, inhale, lower. Exhale, head and shoulder blades lift. External rotation in the hips. Legs back to neutral and inhale, lower. Knees draw towards you. We'll turn to the left side this time. Right arm back strokes. Once again, really take the attention to that shoulder blade. And you might feel that kind of mobilize the rib cage in a more effective way. One more circle. And next time that right hand comes back to meet the left, take your time if you're not there. We'll return to our backs, Maybe grab onto the knees for some traction and start to lift yourself up towards a seat. We're gonna add in some reverse tables here. So plant into the feet, bring those hands under the shoulders, fingers facing towards the feet, and then lift the pelvis up for a bit of a hip opener here, front of the hips, and lower. Let's do one more. We'll lift it up. And lower, turn to your right for a down dog. So turning to face the front of the mat, planting into those hands, lift the pelvis up, really rise up onto the ball of the foot, letting those heels lift up, bend the knees if you need. Inhale and then exhale, walk the hands back, happy squat. You can do this same series, or this time you can press into the left foot and lift up for a stork, lifting the right knee up, lower the foot, and then hinge forward for your happy squat, and we'll all walk the hands forward to down dog. You can lift that right leg up, bend the knee here, open up the hip, plant the foot, walk the hands back, exhale, happy squat. Remember, you can stay here for a moment. You this time could press into the right foot, lift the left knee up for a stork, your choice. If that foot's up, we'll return to happy squat, walk the hands forward. This time, left leg lifts up, three-legged down dog, bend the knee, open up that hip. Plant the left hand, walk those hands back, happy squat. We won't lift up this time, everybody will stay in the happy squat. Exhale, release the head, maybe even interlacing the hands to the back of the head, and just gently let the weight of the hands release the neck. Exhale, we'll walk the hands forward. Lift that right leg up and we'll step the foot forward for a crescent lunge, maybe walking the hands up the leg as you rise to vertical. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, open those elbows for your goalposts, and then twist to the right. Hold onto your pelvis and inhale, twist to the left. Exhale, right. Inhale, left. Twisting right and left. Just one more. We'll twist right. This time, open to the left side of your mat. Take the feet with you here and side lunge. Hinging that left hip crease back and then the right hip crease. Remembering to try to keep the knees over the ankle to some degree. They're not going to be perfectly vertical, but what we don't want is that knee pushing over the toes. We're going to close here with a couple seated twists. So you'll start to turn to the opposite side of the mat, moving to the right. So walk your hands and feet around, turning to the opposite side of the mat. You'll pull that left knee under you. Of course, if you want to extend the leg long, go for it. And then here in this seated twist, two options. You can roll the shoulders as we've been waking up the back body today. You also could kind of stir, in LYT, we often say stir the pot, but take these circles with the upper body in one direction and then the other. So pick which one feels really great for you today. And if neither of those do, find something else that you like. Could be a side bend, a twist. And whatever you've got going, pause. In your seated twist, we'll unwind back to the other side of the mat. So coming back to this kind of wide-legged forward fold position. And then we'll return, this time moving to the left for a seated twist on the opposite leg. So this time you'll pull the right leg underneath you, finding that seated twist for a second. And then all of your options exist, rolling the shoulders, stirring the pot, side bending, anything else you come up with. Also, if you come up with new stuff, let me know. I'll name the move after you. And then opposite direction. If you're rolling, sorry, that was ambiguous. And from this seated twist, pause in your kind of vertical position here for a moment. We'll just unwind the legs and head towards a brief Shavasana. As I've been really saying a lot this semester, Shavasana does not have to look like what anybody tells you Shavasana is supposed to look like. This is a time for you to let your practice sink in. And that might mean that what feels good and safe and comfortable for you looks different from, what feels good and safe and comfortable for me. So lean into that, experiment, find the things that feel really good. Could be eyes open, could be eyes closed. But whenever you get where you are today, start to actively bring that brain almost scanning through the body. So let the brain and the attention kind of travel down the body, through the torso, into the limbs. And as you go, just systematically, like you were turning off the light switch, release the hold, the activity, the tension in each part of your body. Releasing into the floor. Noticing how movement often kind of transports us into this place where we can release even more than we thought we could at the start. And then the final piece is trying to release the attachment to your thoughts. So they won't go away. Your brain will never be silent. But it's a practice of noticing that you're thinking. And instead of being pulled into the spiral, you just flick the spiral away and let it pass. If you want to stay longer, as always, pause your video or mute the computer. Stay as long as you'd like. Really let yourself soak this up. If you are ready to move, maybe bring the hands somewhere on your body if that feels right for you. And feel the real physical dimensions of this thing that you inhabit every day. Feeling the breath fill up the hands and leave the body. On your next inhale, you can reach the hands overhead, really lengthening all the way from toes to fingertips. And if it feels right for you, you can come up to a seat. Taking one moment to close our practice and our time together this semester in the quick flow. You can bring your hands together at heart center and really honestly take a moment to thank yourself and be proud of yourself for consistently making the time even when you've had a million things going on, to move your body a little bit, to check in a little bit, and to kind of share with our community. I'm so grateful for each of you. The Light in Me season honors the light in each of you. All right. As always, I'll stick around if you guys have questions. Otherwise, you have my email. I'm back tomorrow for the last hour-long flow of the semester. If I don't see you, have a beautiful rest of the week. Thanks, Monica.